Good day, folks. Welcome to Andrew's Life. I hope everyone's doing great today. This video is going to be about rather or rather not I'm going to ever, I guess you can say, give up on the United States and move to another country. So that's what this video is going to be about. I figured this would be the perfect video to kick off the 4th of July weekend. But before I continue in this video, first, I'm going to show you some of the progress that I've been making in my yard, that I've been making on my property. But if you don't want to see that, then what you can do is you can fast forward to around the 5-minute and 30-second mark, and that will be where the actual video of the topic today will begin. Alright folks, I know it's been a while since I've showed you footage of my property. I'm just going to show you guys real quick of what I've done so far. Now, if you wind back on this channel, back to, I want to say, November and December of 2024, you'll be able to see some footage of my property when I first purchased it. Now, so far, I have cleared a little bit of that brush, because I'm working on clearing some of this brush. This is what I've done so far. Now I know it may not look like a lot, but maybe it's not a lot, but it's something. Now I got this swimming pool back here that I gotta get rid of. I gotta take a shovel and dig it up, because I think it's in the ground. But this is the amount of brush that I've cleared so far. Now I did purchase myself a chainsaw. Unfortunately, I had to take it back because it wasn't working correctly. So I cleared a little bit up here off as well. And these are just some of the pieces of logs that were hiding in all that brush. And basically what I did was I took a weed whacker and my lawnmower, a push mower, to clear some of this off, to clear some of this up. Now, as you guys can see, I still got a lot more to go, but I at least got a start on it. I mean, every week whenever I come out here to do yard work, I try to do bit by bit. I mean, we've been getting a crap load of rain, so I haven't really been out here doing too much yard work beyond just cutting my grass. But the other day, we had some nice weather, so I came out here and tried to make a dent and getting rid of some of this brush. Now, most likely, I'm going to keep the larger trees because they do a good job of providing some privacy, and they provide a little bit of shade. So I'm going to keep the larger trees, the ones that are still alive, that is. But all these smaller trees, all this brush, I plan to clear that up at some point. See, if you look at the ground real closely, some of you might be able to tell where some of the brush used to be. All right, and so far this is what I got accomplished. I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Catch you guys later. All right, folks. Now, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen a lot of the expat channels. You got all kinds of people of all different age groups. I'm sorry that I keep moving around like this, but these mosquitoes are eating me alive. But anyways, I just wanted to come out here and do an outdoor video. It seems like it's been a minute since I've been outside doing an outside video. I mean, I was outside all day the other day, but I enjoy coming outside. It just, I mean, we just had a bunch of rain not so long ago, so you got a bunch of mosquitoes all over the place right now. But anyways, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen the expat channels of people that have left the United States for one reason or another, and they're claiming how better it is in other countries. And there's also been other people that went to other countries, and at first they enjoy themselves, and then they, for one reason or another, decided to come back to the United States. So it's fair to say that depending on who you speak to, you'll hear all kind of opinions about leaving the United States. Now, I have been out of this country before. Now, I will say it's been a hot second since I've been out of this country. I would say it's been over 20 years. And secondly, when I say I've been out of this country before, I'm talking I've been out of this country in the sense I've traveled to some other countries, not lived in other countries. And also, for those of you that have been watching me for the last year, some of you might remember my video that I made of me getting my passport. Unfortunately, due to life, I have not been able to use my passport yet. I've been stuck in this country because I got a lot of things I had to get done. So it is what it is. But, you know, I got to thinking to myself, would I ever consider leaving the United States? Now, as far as me leaving the United States and doing some traveling abroad, would I do that? Of course I would, whenever I get the opportunity to. Now, will I leave the United States and move abroad? Well, I don't want to say never, because life being life sometimes can throw some curves, and it will have us doing things that we may have never anticipated on doing before. Do I plan on leaving this country and moving to another country? At this point, the answer is no. Do I want to leave this country and move to another country? Again, at this point, the answer is no. I mean, it's not because I think the United States is a better country than other countries. I can't say whether it is or isn't because I never lived in other countries. It's one thing to go to other countries as a tourist as opposed to going to other countries to live full time. I never lived in no other country full time. The only country I ever resided in was the United States. So I can't say whether the United States is better than other countries or not. It wouldn't be fair for me to make that assumption. And it wouldn't be accurate because I never lived in any other country. But the reason why I don't think I'm going to leave the United States as far as moving to another country is because, and none of this is in any particular order, but honestly, I do not feel like going to a country to where, I don't feel like going to another country that I barely know, to where I don't know nobody, and not only do I not know nobody, but I don't even know the culture of that particular country. I'm not familiar with the culture. And then on top of that, if I went to another country, at some point I would have to navigate their economy, which in the majority of countries that many Americans are moving to live that better life are typically in developing countries where the economy is not going to be as strong as what it is here in the United States. And I'm pretty sure some of you are aware that if you move to another country to live a better life, you're gonna still have to have regular access to American currency, which means you're gonna most likely have to establish some kind of an online business to where you're bringing in a regular income. That, or if you're on SSI, or for some of you older folks that have the opportunity to retire and get paid some kind of a pension, if you got something like that going on and you move to one of these developing countries, then you might be good to go. Now, as it goes for me, I don't make near the amount of money online necessary for me to be able to just up and leave my job or leave working 9 to 5 and go live in another country. Even if I went to another country and I somehow managed to get a job in that country, the pay is going to match the cost of living in that country, which means the pay is going to be significantly lower compared to the United States. So someone who went to another country who had to rely on that economy, in reality, even though the cost of living in that country might be significantly lower compared to the United States, that person still may not be doing as well in that country because the jobs are going to pay lower and the economy over there is not going to be as good. I mean, I know the American economy right now is struggling. I know all that. But the economy in some of these developing countries are probably even worse. And like I said, the jobs are going to pay significantly lower. And also, I worked hard for the current setup I have in this country. I worked hard for all that. And at this point, I'm not willing to give any of it up. I mean, I'm not willing to give any of it up. I'm just not. I mean, I know some of you are probably thinking, okay, well, you're not giving nothing up. All you got to do is sell your house, sell your possessions, have your passport, jump on a plane, and you're good to go. And there's a lot of people that do exactly that. And they go to these other countries and they're happy. Now, as it goes for me, even though I'm single and I don't have no children to look after, I just look at moving to another country as a lot. It's a lot it's a lot to do, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. I mean, for me to attempt to sell this house that I worked so hard to have put together, that I worked so hard to be able to purchase, that I'm working so hard to get it nice and clean and get it to where I want it to be. For me to turn around and sell all this and let all this go, hoping that I do good in another country and I like it and everything like that, I'm not willing to do that. And I do understand if I go to another country, I might go there and I might love it. And then again, I might go there and hate it. Now I realize that there's a plethora of countries I can go to and try out. And like I said, to do stuff like that as a tourist, you know, whenever I get that kind of opportunity to do that, great. That'll be a wonderful thing for me to do. It'll be great, and I think I would enjoy myself. But to just up and sell everything I have here in the States, to include my home, and leave everything that I know, leave the country that I grew up in, and I've been here for the whole 46 years of my life, and just start fresh from in another country, have to learn a new language, have to learn the culture, have to get used to different type of cuisine, have to get used to a lot of other different things, which here in the States we may not have to worry so much about. I'm not willing to do that. I am not willing to do that. I mean, I realize that this country does have its issues. I also realize that if I go to some other country, they're going to have their issues. No country you go to is going to be perfect, because no human being is going to be perfect. And I also realize that there's countries out here that might generally be better than the United States. I get all that. But as it goes for me personally, I'm not willing to uproot my life and sell everything that I've worked hard for and go move to another country. I'm not willing to do it. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I am not willing to do it. And that's the reason why I am not going to give up on the United States. That's the reason why. Now, I know some of you are going to call me lazy. I know some of you are probably thinking, I mean, I'm so simple. I need to expand my horizons. I need to be more sophisticated. I need to get out here and live in other countries. I know some of you, that's what you're going to be thinking, and that's quite all right. But to be truthful, like I said, I worked hard for what I have in this country. For what I have right now, the home I'm living in the home I own right now, you know, this plot of land that I'm enjoying, I am not willing to give any of that up and move to another country. And also, my ancestors fought and died and shed blood in this country, so people like myself could live in this country as free men and women. So yeah, when I also take into consideration the great fights, the bloody fights that my ancestors had to endure, so people like myself can live as free people today, so people like myself can enjoy this country today. I'm not willing to just up and leave this country, never to return. Now I understand there's a lot of people that move to other countries because the healthcare might be better, the healthcare might be a lot more affordable. The food is better. The food, from what I hear, is not. The other countries don't put as many chemicals in their food. They don't put as many preservatives in their food. People are healthier. And those are very valid reasons to leave the United States and go to another country. But like I said, man, at this point, I just can't bring myself to sell all my stuff and to basically uproot my entire life to go live in another country. I mean, I don't know how many of you have ever had to move before, but for those of you that never had to move before, try moving. And once you make that first move, you will have an idea of what it's like to move from one location to another. Now, I have moved several times across the country. It is not easy. I have also moved my fair share of times from one county to another county within a particular state. And even then, it is not easy to move. It is tiring, it is time consuming, and it does get rather expensive. I mean, there is nothing that I find fun about moving. Now, back when I was younger, I didn't trip so much about moving because I was younger. But as I get older, that moving stuff gets old very quick. I'm tired of doing it. And that's another reason why I don't plan to leave the United States. I am sick and tired of moving. I am sick and tired of spending thousands of dollars on moving. Now, if I were to move, I'm here in Alabama right now. Let's say I were to move back to Indiana. I actually sat down and I did a generic calculation of what it would cost me to move to Indiana with today's prices. For everything that I would need in order to move, it would run me $7,000 to move from here back to Indiana. It would run me around $7,000. So not only is moving at this point in my life extremely tiring, but on top of that, it is very expensive. So imagine uprooting your entire life and leaving a country that you grew up in, the only country that you knew for most of you, and moving to a whole nother country. Imagine that. I don't care if you're moving to Central or South America. I don't care if you're moving to, let's say, Canada, or you're moving across the oceans on the other side of the world. If you do a move like that, just imagine how time-consuming that kind of a move could be, how expensive that move will be. In whatever country that you may plan on moving to, that you think you want to move to, before you move to that particular country, at some point, you're going to have to fly to that country. And wherever in that country that you think you want to live, you're going to have to fly to that country and go visit that particular location and check out the housing prices, check out neighborhoods and all that fun stuff. Which, again, is not exactly free or cheap to fly to other countries. Now, I understand there's deals that you can get. I get all that, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily cheap. So, like if I were to move to another country, let's say, by the time I spend the money on plane tickets to fly to whatever country where I think I want to live and go visit that country for, let's say, a week or two to get a feel of how that country will be if I wanted to move there full time. By the time I buy the plane tickets to fly there and then come back, and then I do what I have to do here in the States to uproot my life to go to that country full time, that's going to be a crap load of money that I'm going to be spending to do that. And my attitude is, that's money that I can use to better myself right here in the States. That's money I can use to better my life here in the States. That's how I look at it. And also, I forgot what I was going to say. Let me think for a minute. So yeah, that's how I look at it. I just think me moving to another country is going to be a massive headache. It's going to cost me tons of money. And there's something else I wanted to say, but now for the life of me, I can't think of what that is. So if I think about it, I'll come back and I'll say it. If I don't, then this is going to be it. Okay, I got my thoughts straight. Here's what I was wanting to say. And I also got to thinking, if I move to another country, once I get to that country, I'm going to have to repurchase my mode of transportation. I'm going to have to repurchase new clothes, and most everything that I need and I use on a daily basis here in the States, I'm gonna have to repurchase all that in whatever country where I choose to live. I'm gonna have to look for housing. And also, and even though I've always been a loner, I've always been the kind of person that for the most part, I enjoy traveling and doing things by myself, even though I'm very much an introvert. I mean, there's times to where I want to go and I want to visit I want to visit some of my friends. I might want to visit some of my family up in Ohio. So whenever I want to visit friends or family, now being that I'm here in Alabama, all I gotta do is drive about a half a day, and I can be up in Ohio and visit my family, or I can visit some of my friends over in Indiana, and also in Ohio. But if I were to move to another country and I wanted to visit family, I wanted to visit friends, I'm not going to be able to simply jump in my vehicle and drive. Now I'm going to have to fly from wherever country I'm living. I'm going to have to fly back here to the United States. And then once I get to the airport, I'm going to have to spend even more money renting a car for several days so I can get around. So I would have to buy a two-way plane ticket plus rent a car for several days. And I might even have to stay in a hotel. Maybe. I mean, I could probably rent me a vehicle big enough to where I could sleep in the vehicle and be comfortable. But you never know. So if I were to move to another country, it will complicate things when it comes to visiting friends and family here in the States. And that's another reason why I don't see myself ever leaving the United States to go move to another country. And that's all I gotta say on this one. So hopefully you guys got something out of it, or at least you were entertained, hopefully. Stay blessed. I'll catch you guys on the next one.